I have to say that many people are quite shocked at the approach of the Green Party on this. I have a lot of time for many of the Green Party activists who are elected reps. I believe that many of them have approached their time in the Dáil with the best of objectives and sincere values with regards trying to fix the climate crisis in this country. But I'm stunned at the level of capture that I've seen amongst the Green Party in this Dáil so far. You know, many people voted for the Greens first and foremost because they believed that they were going to be a watchdog, an ethical watchdog on Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. And obviously that hasn't happened, and we've seen the amount of scandals that have occurred in the government while the Greens have stood idly by on that. So many people figured, well, the Greens are taking a strategic view. They're giving a blank cheque with regards, you know, the typical Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael behaviour because they're so focused on the Green agenda and to make sure that their agenda is achieved. But then, how come we see the Greens get captured with regards what's happening around the issue of data centres at the same time? It's really hard to understand how, on one level, you can renege on your objective of being a watchdog over Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael wrongdoings, but also to sell out so quickly on your core objectives of achieving CO2 reduction and climate policy that will fix the environment in this planet. Instead of seeing the green flag actually flying from your party at the moment, we've actually seen the white flag actually raised by our party on so many issues over this short government so far. The landscape that you're in charge of at the moment is turning into a landscape of chaos. And the first thing I will say is that, you know, energy security is the first responsibility of any government. Being able to keep the lights on is the first responsibility of every government. And there's no way to unite all sectors of Irish society in anger against your government. There's no better way of doing that than actually introducing energy instability, because it affects everybody. It affects people from just being able to put the kettle on, to be able to make a bottle for their child. It affects businesses' ability to be able to function. It affects hospitals and the services that we depend on to be able to be delivered. And yet now the energy situation in this country is in chaos, is entering a period of significant instability. And I tell you, it will be a fatal blow to the credibility of your government if you don't ensure that there is energy stability in this country. I was shocked. I was listening to the interview of your leader on Morning Ireland this morning, and I heard him make an argument for the extension of the lifespan of the coal-fired station in Moneypoint. I heard the leader of the Green Parties make an argument for the extension of the lifespan of the oil-fired station, power station in Tarbert. And, you know, I asked myself the question that, was that argument any different than an argument that would be made by Fianna Fáil or Fine Gael in previous years? Two parties who have covered themselves in greenwash, who've stood in every single, you know, green photo op, but never delivered on anything over the last 10 years. I asked myself, was the leader of the Green Party delivering in any different way a message than those two other political parties have delivered in? And the answer is very clearly no. The idea that the Greens are making an argument currently for a whole sector to be given a free rein in the delivery of increased outputs of CO2 is incredible. Other countries have said, you know, they'll put a cap on it. And if those sectors want to be able to increase in size in future, they have to do it on the basis of sustainable energy alone. So, you know, other countries have actually got the cart at the right perspective with regards to the horse, but the Green Party in Ireland haven't, unfortunately. I can understand why, obviously, I can't understand why you want to undermine the whole green project for the sake of data centres as well. You know, many people are learning that the mobile phone is now becoming a weapon of environmental destruction in many ways. And, you know, I think it's important for people who are environmentalists to start to reappraise the use that we make of mobile phones and of data, etc., in this country. But I can't understand why the Greens are putting all of their political capital on data centres, because it significantly undermines their message to the rest of society. Data centres are not employment rich. In actual fact, they're employment poor. They have a low impact on the improvement of society, on income levels, on wage levels, and on the general business within society. But this undermines your message to pretty much everybody else in society. How can you tell working class families to take the burden of a carbon tax in future, when in actual fact you're giving a free rein to data centres in this country? How can you say to farmers, reduce the size of the national herd, reduce your ability to make a living in this country, radically alter the whole business model that you function in? How can you say to farmers, accept the low wages that you're experiencing at the moment, accept the fact that thousands of farmers are leaving the agricultural sector on an annual basis, while at the same time give a free rein to data centres? It's just, it radically reduces your ability to be taken seriously when you're selling your other messages to other sectors of society. I want to just talk about water, if I can, because many of these data centres are being located on the East Coast, and we know from climate change that the East Coast is experiencing far less water at the moment. In my own county of Meath, we have, for example, Enfield. 17 days in August, Enfield was without water. The 21st century, first world country, people turning on the taps, the majority of days in the month of August, no water came out. I've got 100 people living in the centre of Meath whose wells are running dry at the moment. Now, that may be because of Tara Mines and the new extraction that they're involved in. But we know all of these water courses are linked to each other. The Boyne is lower than it ever was because of the pressure that's underwater at the moment. And yet, the government is proceeding with an industry which is extremely harsh on water in an area that is already in big trouble. And can I just point to the other elements of the Green Party's impact so far as government? Ireland, I believe, is the only country in Europe at the moment where there isn't a solar farm plugged into the national grid. Ireland is the only country in Europe where there isn't a feed-in tariff, as of yet, for microgeneration in this country. The North has been festooned with solar panels for nearly a decade, on top of nearly a third of the homes, for that energy to get, to be generated by families, to get into their grid, and for families to get money out of it. And we're still not in a position where there's an actual auction in this country for microgeneration on a feed-in tariff. The Green Party is not delivering. The Green Party has raised the white flag and is ceding ground to Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael on their core values, and it needs to change.